we're going to discuss why you need to care about screen readers, some of the best on the market, and we're going to see how this is tightly integrated into the Lambda test platform. First, what is accessibility? In simple terms, it's ensuring that our website and applications are usable for all individuals. This is the first step, and I think this plugin is excellent helper for that. So what are the key features? Testing with screen readers ensure that these users have a seamless, accessible experience, helping us catch issues that could prevent them from navigating, reading, or interacting with content. In order to start using Lighthouse, you just need to add this capability, performance to true. I suggest not to use this, but instead integrate and use the Lambda test accessibility automation. Lambda test accessibility automation transforms complex accessibility testing into streamlined, efficient process, making it easier for teams to maintain web accessibility standards. Hi guys, greetings from Bulgaria. I'm Anton, and in this module we are going to cover accessibility, functional and automated testing. But before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, hit the ring bell so that you get notified when new videos are published to the channel. Also check the awesome Lambda test blog, because there are many advanced test automation articles that can help you to be a much better test automation engineer. In the links below you will find reference resources, the link to the GitHub repo, and also jump links to particular sections. Here is what we are going to cover. First, we are going to discuss what is accessibility. Then we are going to explore Axe, which is a set of tools that help automating accessibility testing. After that, we are going to cover Lambda Test Accessibility DevTools plugin. This is the abbreviation for accessibility, A11Y. Then we're going to discuss why you need to care about screen readers, some of the best on the market, and we're going to see how this is tightly integrated into the Lambda test platform and how you can easily do this type of testing. Then we're going to cover Google Lighthouse. If you remember some and watch some of the other modules, mainly when we talk about Google Lighthouse, we use it for performance measurement. However, it's much more than that. It also contains some accessibility checks, and because of its tight integration into the Lambda test, we can utilize that and see some numbers for this purpose. As we're going to discuss, I would recommend to use Lambda test accessibility automation, because it's much tighter integrated into the platform and you can reuse your existing automated test. First, what is accessibility? In simple terms, it's ensuring that our website and applications are usable for all individuals, including those with disabilities. This involves considering people with various impairments, whether visual, auditory, motor, or cognitive. The idea is to remove barriers that may prevent these users from fully engaging with digital content. Accessibility goes beyond just making a website look good. It's about creating an experience that works for everyone. By designing with accessibility in mind from the start, we not only avoid costly redesigns, but also create more inclusive web for significant audience. For context, approximately 27% of adults in the US alone have some forms of disability according to CDC. And this percentage is expected to increase as population age. So, by adhering to accessibility standards and guidelines, we ensure that our websites work seamlessly with assistive tools like screen readers and keyboard navigation, helping users interact, navigate, and contribute to content. Accessibility, therefore, becomes a critical aspect of creating digital experiences that are inclusive and legally compliant, while also meeting the needs of a broader audience. Now let's discuss the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. These are global standards for making web content accessible, created by the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative, WAI. WCAG is based on 4 essential principles. Perceivable. Content must be presented in ways that users can perceive through their senses. For example, visual content should have descriptions for screen reader users, and auditory content should have transcripts for those with hearing impairments. Operable. All functions must be accessible to users with different input methods, like keyboards or voice commands, rather than relying solely on a mouse. Understandable. Content should be easy to read and predictable. We want users to understand the structure, the language and layout, ensuring they aren't disoriented as they navigate. Content should be adaptable to various assistive technologies, making it future-proof and compatible across different platforms. These principles are then divided into 3 conformance levels. Level A. This is the basic level, addressing the most fundamental accessibility barriers. Failing to meet this level typically means a website is unusable for many. Then you have AA. Most websites aim for this level as it addresses a broader range of issues that commonly affect users with disabilities. Then we have AAA. This is the highest standard and is often achieved in specialized cases through it isn't a requirement for every website. With the release of WCAG 2.1, the guidelines expanded to include accessibility for mobile devices, people with cognitive disabilities, and users with low vision. WCAG is continuously evolving to meet modern accessibility needs, ensuring we build truly inclusive digital spaces. Now, let's talk about the laws and regulations that make accessibility a necessity. Accessibility isn't just best practice, it's legal requirement in many countries. So, the Web Content Accessibility Guideline. This isn't just a guideline, it forms the basis for many laws worldwide, setting the accessibility standard for digital content. Then we have European Union Web Accessibility Directive. This directive requires that all public sectors, websites and mobile apps meet WCAG 2.1 level EE standards. In Europe, compliance is mandatory for government and public sector sites. Then we have Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. In the United States, the ADA requires public-facing websites to be accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. It's the basis for many lawsuits where organizations didn't provide adequate accessibility. And then we have the 21st Century Communication and Video Accessibility Act. This US law covers accessibility for digital communication services, ensuring features like SMS, email, and video calling are usable for individuals with disabilities. And why this matters? Besides avoiding legal risks, accessible websites promote inclusivity and boost brand reputation. Accessibility makes websites easier to navigate for everyone, increases engagement, and can even improve SEO by making content more structured and understandable for search engines. So complying with these standards and laws supports not only the user experience but also the business. To support accessibility, the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative, WAI, has provided a set of design patterns. These are practical solutions for building accessible interactive elements like buttons, modals, and navigation menus. These patterns ensure that elements are operable by users relying on assistive technologies like screen readers and keyboard navigation. One key tool here is ARIA. or accessible rich internet applications. ARIA adds extra attributes to HTML elements, letting screen readers interpret interactive components correctly. So let's look at a few common WAI patterns. Here I open the website. For example, this is the area expanded attribute. Here you can see an example. Attribute area expanded to true. Attribute lets screen readers announce whether a section is open or closed, helping users understand and navigate collapsible content. Now, if we go to the patterns right here into the whole navigation, we can go to the home, then design patterns. We can open the button. Inside the button, there is a very detailed explanation about the pattern, and we can see some examples. By adding ARIA rows like row button, we make sure that the screen readers recognize buttons correctly, allowing users to know if a button is pressed or unpressed. We have tab indexes and many more. Then we can check models. Area model true helps focus the screen reader within the dialog, so the user isn't distracted by the background content. These WAI patterns are crucial for testing, as we can verify that each component functions as expected, ensuring proper ARIA row validations, keyboard accessibility, screen reader compatibility, and focus management. They essentially provide a roadmap for making dynamic content accessible. To wrap up, let's go over some key accessibility checks that help ensure compliance with WCAG. First, make sure every image has alternative text that conveys its meaning. This helps screen readers describe images to users with visual impairments. Then we have the color contrasts. Maintain a contrast ratio of at least 4.5:1 between text and background to ensure readability, especially for users with low vision. Keyboard accessibility, this is very important. Ensure users can navigate the entire website using just the keyboard, making all interactive elements accessible without a mouse. Inaccessible forms. As users navigate the website, they encounter various form fields. However, numerous online forms lack proper or empty form labels, hindering screen readers from conveying crucial control information. This challenges visually impaired users depending on assistive technologies to navigate and complete forms. Enhance user-friendliness and accessibility of all input fields or contact forms on your website by ensuring they contain explicit labels. You can use the label element in each field code, as it will enable screen readers to accurately convey required field information to users. Focus management. Make sure that the user can see whether their keyboard focus is on interactive elements, so they don't lose track of where they are on the page. For videos, provide captions and transcripts to ensure content is accessible to users who are deaf or hard of hearing. Avoid generic links like click here. Instead, use meaningful descriptions like learn about accessibility guidelines, which improves both usability and SEO. Another web accessibility issue is the improper use of headings in the content of web applications. Users with disabilities are less likely to read the entire web page. They mainly depend on assistive technologies to navigate the content. Such users depend on headings to move around the website. It is suggested that informative content be included in headings that describe the subsequent content. Ensure that the headings hierarchy is logical from H1 to H6 to facilitate easy navigation for users. These checks help us catch common accessibility issues. As we proceed, we'll use these principles to analyze and address specific accessibility warnings in our testing tools, like those offered by Lambda Test. By focusing on these areas, we can create more accessible, inclusive, and user-friendly digital experience. Keep in mind that I haven't discussed all of the different checks and verifications. There are many more articles from the Lambda Test blog, as I mentioned, that covers all of those topics in much more details. So check the reference resources. Now, let's explore Axe. I will directly open the GitHub repo here. This is the Axe core project. Axe is widely used open source accessibility testing toolkit by 𝐷Q Systems. It's built specifically to help developers identify and resolve accessibility issues on their website or applications. You might already know Axe as a browser extension, but it also has a command line interface. Here is the command line interface. To use it, you need Node.js. This command line allows us to run accessibility tests directly from the command line. This CLI is powerful for automated testing setups because we can schedule tests as part of our CI/CD pipelines without manual intervention. With a simple command, Axe scans a page and outputs results that are actionable and WCAG compliant. By the way, Lambda Test accessibility product is powered by the Axe core by 𝐷Q. Here you can see some commands. You just need again to install the Node.js. You can just provide some. You can also scan for WCAG 1A, 2A, 3A. You can disable some rules and output into different folders. While Axe CLI is excellent for command line integrations, today I will focus on how Axe works within a test automation setup, particularly with Selenium in C#. You will find the reference links in the description below. I'm going to discuss the 𝐀𝐜𝐜𝐞 Axe core Selenium. It's a NuGet package, right? So the Axe project GitHub has packages tailored for different environments, including Selenium WebDriver, allowing us to automate accessibility testing in end-to-end tests. The Axe Selenium C# library brings accessibility testing right into the WebDriver session, so it runs alongside other UI or functional tests. This means we can validate accessibility as part of our UI test flows, catching issues that might go unnoticed in purely visual checks. There are a few pages that I'm going to provide. As you can see, they have Axe core for Playwright, for Selenium. They have this common project. I think this is the essential link that you need because it's like a full-blown documentation. We need to install this package, the 𝐀𝐜𝐜𝐴XE Selenium. In a minute, I'm going to show you my project with C#. I already created that and I used the Lambda Test e-commerce website that we have automated in many other modules. As you can see, they provide this Axe builder. We create an Axe builder instance and then we need to call analyze. The analyze method scans the page and capture accessibility violations based on the WCAG standards. The results include details on each violation, making it easy to locate and fix issues. This approach allows us to keep accessibility checks embedded within our broader test flow. So let's see it in action. I prepared a solution. We have different demos for the various topics that we are going to cover. Right now, you need to open this product purchase Axe tests. This is a standard NUnit project. We have a few NuGet packages already installed. The most important package that you need is this, the 𝐀𝐜𝐜𝐴XE Axe core Selenium. They suggest to use fluent assertions. I'm not a huge fan of fluent assertions. You can use whatever assertion library you want. Besides that, I'm using standard Selenium NUnit setup. After that, we have an NUnit test class, we have the WebDriver. I also used some page objects. This is out of the scope for covering them, but I didn't want to use just random Selenium commands, but at least follow some structure. Again, we're automating this e-commerce playground website like an online shopping center demo. Let me quickly show you for those who don't know. Here it is. We can search for products, we can buy them. I'm initializing the driver here. Right now I'm going to run this locally. Later I'm going to show you how you can use not use Axe, but since the Lambda test products are tightly integrated with it, we don't need to install NuGet packages or the builder. I think the builder is nice, and this is why I'm going to show you. For example, if you have some issues that were noticed during the automated testing, this is nice for debugging purposes and drill down in much more details. So I have my page objects and model classes here. I'm completing my test, right? We call Axe Builder. Again, there are particular syntaxes like with the CLI. We can mention just to run the builder with particular rules. We can run with tags WCAG 1A, 2A, 3A, etc. We can disable rules. Then the most important method is analyze. In this violations collection, we have all of the issues with explanations. If you check their documentation, when we run this analysis on a web page, we can run it just on a particular section, for example, on a table or in a bigger div. With this include, you need to use CSS for that. Also, you can exclude some elements. For example, imagine that you have advertisement that it's not coming from you, Google AdSense or something else, and you can exclude these elements. This can get out of hand quite fast. Well, if you check their documentation, you can see some rules. I think this is really hard to read. However, it's nice. There are some configurations instructing it to check iframes. You can also check some shadow DOM elements with shadow selectors. This is out of the scope. It's just good to have an idea that this exists. I have actually one more thing. You're going to ask why we are not just writing our own checks instead of using Axe or using Lambda tests, right? In order to show you, I already created such tests, implementing some of the rules. For example, here we're using native WebDriver for checking for that there are no duplicate IDs. We're checking for color contrast issues. In order to do that, we need to do these regular expressions, these calculations for checking the colors. We need to calculate the contrast ratio with these mathematical expressions. Then we can verify the heading order or to check the form labels. We can check for touch target size or for keyboard operability. We can check for tab order using the index attribute. We can check for keyboard navigation, for links having names and ARIA labels. We can check that all of the images and links have alt attribute and that it's set. As you can imagine, these are just some of the checks. So why should we avoid relying solely on WebDriver without tools like Axe for accessibility checks? Manually coded checks can't effectively detect all accessibility issues. For example, we can write tests to check for duplicate IDs or contrast ratio. While these basic checks may detect some issues, they don't cover the full spectrum of WCAG requirements like ARIA, role validations or focus management. Tools like Axe automate these complex checks, making them more thorough and reliable. Additionally, Axe provides meaningful explanations and solutions, reducing the manual efforts and expertise needed to identify and fix accessibility problems. And as you can imagine, since there are all of those tools, you don't need to reinvent the wheel and write your own library. It doesn't make sense, right? I will show you a little bit later how much easier is to use the Lambda test integrations and dashboard with the Lambda test accessibility automation. Everything is built in. And you have this historical dashboard, you can filter, you can check for the solutions and everything. Now let's talk about Lambda test accessibility DevTools plugin. To address the web accessibility issues and ensure the quality of software applications, the most effective approach is to perform web accessibility testing. You should understand that. Web Accessibility DevTools is a browser extension designed to help developers and testers identify and resolve accessibility issues within web applications. It simplifies the process of ensuring your website is usable by everyone regardless of their abilities. I always say that you don't need to rely just on your automated tests. You need to do this type of functional tests and work all of the issues, right? This is the first step, and I think this plugin is excellent helper for that. So what are the key features? The DevTools can scan entire web pages, the full page scan, specific website elements, the partial page scan, or even multiple pages simultaneously, multi-page scan, to identify accessibility violations. The scanning process is powered by Axe Core and helps ensure your website adheres to accessibility standards like WCAG. After a scan, the DevTools generate a comprehensive report that details all identified accessibility issues. This report includes the severity level, critical, serious, or minor of each issue, along with a clear explanation as suggested remediation steps. By identifying and fixing accessibility issues, you create a website that is usable for everyone, including users with disabilities. Using this DevTools plugin helps mitigate potential legal risk associated with non-compliance. Accessibility websites tend to rank higher in search engine results pages as search engines consider accessibility a factor. So how to use it? First, you need to go to this accessibility tab and download the plugin. You need to click Add to Chrome and then log into your Lambda test account. After that, you can pick one of the 4 methods for scanning. You need to open the DevTools and click on the Accessibility DevTools tab. Then you can click on the full page scan button to start scanning for accessibility issues for this particular page. This will list down all of the issues after scanning your complete web page. You can click on those issues to check with which particular element it's causing the issue. And now it's time for demo. This is right here from the accessibility tab. I can access my manual reports from the plugin and automation reports that we will cover a little bit later. If I open the Lambda test website in my DevTools, you will find Accessibility DevTools. I already installed the plugin. When I click here, you have access to your dashboard and to the different scans. We have found 96 issues. There is just one critical, and I can click it, and as you can see here from the right, we can highlight the issue directly in the browser and even see how to fix it. It's really excellent. Now when I go to my manual reports, if I refresh, you will see that instead of 3 I have 4. I think this is the best thing, that we have the history of all of the different checks and forms. We can filter by the different page scans, by the different criteria. We can download the report, export to CSV, PDF and JSON, share the results with someone, and link that to a bug report. Let's move on. Let's discuss the importance of screen readers. Navigating websites or mobile apps can be challenging for users with visual or cognitive impairments. These users rely on assistive technologies like screen readers, which convert on-screen text and elements into audio and braille, helping them access digital content effectively. Testing with screen readers ensure that these users have a seamless, accessible experience, helping us catch issues that could prevent them from navigating, reading, or interacting with content. So, how screen readers function? First, you have text-to-speech. This feature translates text, buttons, and images into spoken words through the device's audio. The screen reader sends text to the TTS engine, which it into spoken language. It reads everything from headings and links to images with alt text, enhancing navigation. Then you have braille displays. For those who rely on touch, screen readers can convert text into braille on a tactile display. Screen readers primarily use keyboard shortcuts. Keys like tab move through elements and enter activates them. This system is made possible through well-structured semantic HTML, meaning each heading, link, and image needs the correct label and hierarchy, as we discussed previously. Some popular screen readers that testers can use for accessibility testing. Though there are other screen readers available, the following are the popular ones. First, you have Job Access with Speech. It is one of the most used screen readers and a good option for performing screen reader testing. This is compatible with Windows and supports different programming languages. You can also easily leverage the voice and speech rates with its built-in features and navigate the web via voice commands. However, it is not freely available and requires purchase to use it. Then we have non-visual desktop access. It is another popular screen reader that it's open source and freely available. It also works for Windows and allows users to access the contrast through braille, display, or voice. In a minute you're going to see a demo using the Lambda Test platform. Then we have TalkBack. It is an accessibility feature built into Android devices to help visually impaired users interact. It provides spoken feedback, allowing users to hear what they touch, select, and activate on their device screens. Then you have VoiceOver. The screen reader is specifically designed for Apple. Although highly advanced and QA developers generally don't recommend it for accessibility testing, as JAWS and NVDA. Screen readers involve accessing how effectively user can navigate and comprehend our website. We want to ensure users can tap through elements and that each item like headings, links, and buttons is accurately read aloud. Testing should include ensuring alt text is provided for non-text elements like images, using appropriate heading tags for clear page structure, making sure each form field has label read by the screen reader, checking that elements are navigatable and operatable via keyboard only, verifying that link text provides clear information about where each link leads. Various screen readers are available in the market, however configuring each one to meet specific user needs can be difficult. Additionally, you need to ensure cross-browser accessibility and multiple mobile devices, verifying how your website or mobile apps perform across different browser devices and operating systems. This is where Lambda Test comes into play. When you go to desktop or virtual mobile, you can pick an operating system, browser version, and resolution. If we copy the website right here or this one, we can start. Also, you will find a link in the reference resources that it's covering mobile accessibility testing as well. When this virtual machine is created for you, it's really quick. As you can see, this is Chrome 130, Windows 11, this particular resolution. From the left menu here, you can click accessibility and then turn on the screen reader. And here you can
Automation Capabilities Generator for Selenium and 𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏 Lambda Test. Clickable link www.lamdatas.com link graphic. List with 5 items link live. Link automate.
Then you can turn it off after you finish the testing and shut down the machine. I think this is a very good integration, right? Let's briefly discuss Google Lighthouse. Google Lighthouse is a versatile auditing tool integrated into Lambda Test, providing high-level insights on performance, SEO, and accessibility. For accessibility, Lighthouse runs quick checks based on WCAG standards, flagging common issues like missing alt text, incorrect color contrast, and missing form labels. To use it with Lambda Test, simply configure the test in your dashboard and Lighthouse will run its audits automatically across different browsers and devices, with reports accessible via Lambda Test API and dashboard. Let me show you. Here you can find the accessibility API. Also, we have such an API for Google Lighthouse. In a minute, we're going to cover how you can run. In order to start using Lighthouse, you just need to add this capability, performance to true. Again, we already, if you watch some of the videos, part of the Advanced Test Automation Framework Development Series, we covered integration with performance analysis tools. You can use it for accessibility as well. After you set this to true, you don't need to do anything else. At the end of your test execution, you will find this tab performance, and then under performance you will find all of these scores. When you click on accessibility, you will find all of those different checks. One more thing, since this is run particularly at the end of the test, we actually have a Lambda Test hook. In this series about advanced framework development, we covered what the hooks are, but the hooks allow you to run some particular script so that we can instruct Lambda Test to run the Lighthouse integration at a particular point, for example, in the middle of your test workflow. We use that in this integration for performance analysis. You can do that bypassing the login. You can then run that and then one more time. Also, you can use some of the APIs here for fetching some of the results and then do particular assertions. I already copied some of the code that we had before. In this particular test, Purchase Test Cloud, I already made it available. This Lighthouse service, as I said, is using the Lambda Test hooks. You can find more about them in one of the documentation links that I will provide in the description. Hooks are little scripts that allow you, for example, to update the build name, to update the test name, to list some of the files, to check for file existence on the machine, etc., but also generate this Lighthouse report. It's a little bit more complex since this takes a while and we're waiting for this to return a particular result. Parsing the results, this JSON, into meaningful objects. We are converting these JSON results from the Lighthouse report to C# objects or Java objects, it doesn't matter. And then we're using the builder pattern. You can watch the video part of the framework series to understand more about this design. The thing that I added to this particular service is that right now we are also providing some accessibility assertions, accessibility score above, or checking for color contrast or out, etc. This is how we use it. At the bottom, I'm triggering and performing the Lighthouse analysis, and I can do some assertions. Without that, you will just see the numbers inside the Lambda Test dashboard, but you cannot fail the test if something is below a particular threshold or if you have some issues. I suggest not to use this, but instead integrate and use the Lambda Test accessibility automation. If we need to maintain higher WCAG conformance like AAA, we can customize additional assertions using the Lambda Test API, as we will discuss in a minute. This allows for more refined checks on specific elements or attributes. Lighthouse is ideal for quick overviews, but Axe is purpose-built for accessibility testing and digs deeper into WCAG requirements. If your goal is broad cross-device testing, Lambda Test Lighthouse integration provides the scalability needed, but for developer-focused detailed fixes, Axe is more specialized, allowing you to catch and address issues at the code level. If you use Lambda Test automation, accessibility automation, it will contain all of those information in a central place. Now let's discuss the Lambda Test accessibility automated testing integration. So Lambda Test accessibility automation transforms complex accessibility testing into streamlined, efficient process, making it easier for teams to maintain web accessibility standards. It integrates seamlessly with your existing test frameworks like Selenium or Cypress, enabling you to continuously check accessibility compliance as part of your CI/CD pipelines. Lambda Test accessibility automation scans web pages, detects accessibility issues, and categorizes them by severity: critical, high, medium, and low, providing recommendations for remediation. Easy integration. To begin, simply set the accessibility to true. In a minute we are going to see the code. Lambda Test will automatically scan all URLs for accessibility issues. There is no need to change workflows. Lambda Test fits right. By enabling this feature, you can check for WCAG 2.1, level A, AA, AAA compliance as your test runs. You don't need X builders or additional assertions. Another strong feature is that Lambda Test provides DOM change monitoring. This feature automatically triggers scans whenever a web page's DOM changes, such as when a dynamic element like a carousel or modal is updated. This ensures that any accessibility issues caused by these changes are detected immediately without additional configuration. You will have this comprehensive dashboard in the demo that you will see, where all accessibility reports from both manual and automated scans are stored. The dashboard provides detailed insights into issues found. You can track trends over time, compare historical data, and see real-time accessibility metrics across different browsers and devices. I think this is maybe one of the strongest points, that you can run it across multiple devices and browsers and browser versions. If your project involves integrating data into other tools and systems, Lambda Test provides an API to retrieve accessibility data. I am going to show you this in the demo shortly. This is especially useful for teams needing to fetch issues details programmatically and merge accessibility test results into their custom reporting tools. Also, Lambda Test helps reduce redundant data by eliminating duplicate issues when your test suite accesses the same URL multiple times. This keeps your reports focused and concise, making it easier to prioritize fixes. Another great feature is the variety of reporting formats available. You can export to PDF, JSON, and CSV, allowing you to easily share the reports with stakeholders. Plus, you can directly mark an issue as a bug in tools like Jira. From the Lambda Test dashboard, simply create bug tickets for any detected accessibility issue, ensuring a smooth workflow between testers and developers. Now, let's discuss how to use that. To use with Selenium, you can find accessibility automation. I'm going to use Selenium, but also you can check it for Cypress or HyperExecute. We'll need these 4 capabilities. This is the one that you need, accessibility true. If you want to further configure everything, the WCAG version, best practices needs to review, you can do it from here. After that, here are my tests. Also, as I showed you, there is this API, accessibility testing, and you can get by test ID all of the issues and fetch them. I'm going to show you how this works. If you go to our tests, you will find test cloud, and above I made on all of the configurations that you need to execute those tests in Lambda tests. You just need to set this environmental variable for your user and access key. Probably you will need to turn off the Google Lighthouse, this performance, if you wish, if you're going just to use it for accessibility. Then we need these 4 keys as we discussed, and then nothing else is needed. You just need to run the test and you will see the result. I already executed the test. These were our manual reports. If I click automation reports, you will see that I have many runs here for some of my tests. We can filter by the different levels, 1A, AAA, whether it's critical or medium. We can see all of the issues. We can filter them, apply. The great thing is that you see some examples, some of the elements that you have problem with, and then you have a fix. As we discussed, you can download from here and export to PDF, JSON or CSV. You can share it, filter from here. If you want to use the API that you have access to, you will find a link to this advanced series about creating advanced test automation frameworks. There in details I explain how from this Swagger we can generate these API clients. Here I haven't created an API for all of the Lambda test APIs. I just created one for the session, the Lighthouse API, and the one about accessibility, and I'm using REST Sharp. This is an SDK, a client for making this HTTP request to the API. Why we need the session? You need the session to get the session details, providing the session ID that we get from the remote WebDriver. Then when you have the current session, we call accessibility API client, and this get test issue data async, and you need to mention the current test ID. After that, you have access to test info and total issues, and you have access to all the fixes and everything that you see on the dashboard. Also, I have created a data-driven test where I just run multiple times for all of those URLs. I populated the dashboard automatically. So Lambda test accessibility automation transforms the complexity of accessibility testing into a simplified, more manageable process. It fits effortlessly into existing testing frameworks, supporting teams, and maintaining key accessibility standards without disrupting the workflow. This tool is pivotal for developers aiming to deliver inclusive web experiences efficiently. Today, we explored the critical aspects of accessibility and its impact on user inclusivity, focusing on tools and standards that make digital content more maintainable to everyone. We began with an overview of what is accessibility principles, and why WCAG Web Content Accessibility Guidelines are essential. We discussed major accessibility laws like ADA and Europe Web Accessibility Directive, which reinforces the importance of accessible design. Next, we delved into the WAI-ARIA patterns, enhancing the functionality of interactive elements for screen readers and keyboard users. Then we demonstrated using Axe and Google Lighthouse tools for accessibility checks, each providing unique insights for developers and testers. Lambda Test Accessibility Automation was introduced, offering robustness, cross-browser accessibility testing, compliance monitoring, and detailed issues reporting, all while seamlessly integrating with the CI/CD pipelines. We also saw the Lambda Test Accessibility DevTools plugin and the Lambda Test feature for supporting screen readers across a wide range of devices. Our goal was to highlight how these tools ensure a more inclusive web experience, helping us build accessible applications that serve a diverse user base effectively. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, put them in the comment section below. Check the awesome Lambda test blog in the community websites and get your free certification about technologies like Selenium, Appium, Cypress, and many more. See you soon in other modules.